Hey there everyone, you have once again found yourselves on Squee-El's gaming channel here playing Grim Dawn, and it's another video kind of showcasing one of my endgame builds. This is my third and final character. She is a Druid, which is a matchup of the Shaman and the Arcanist. So basically a heavy magic wielding character. I do have a few summons on this character. This game's just way too good with the summons. I love it, but unlike my last two characters, summoning is not the focus of this character. This character is wielding raw elemental powers, sort of mixing. I mean, I've got all kinds of elements on this character, but the primary focus is a mix of lightning and fire elements, more or less in the form of whirlwinds. And you guys will see what I mean very shortly. But before we get into the real specifics, just a rough overview of the skills and everything. You guys have seen a couple of these videos, so you might know already kind of how I do these. But here's the skills. Heavy focus, this is the Arcanist tree. So heavy focus on the flash freeze, which is good for basically being able to freeze almost any enemy around me in place, even if briefly. I've got the Ether Ray and its augmented ability maxed out, so this is basically just your straight beam, your blast. It's my primary attack. It soaks up a lot of magic, so I actually kind of got away from relying on this skill as much as I was at one point in time, but it's still kind of the main damage spell. I've got a couple skills. I'm not going to be able to max out everything I want on this character because there's just not enough points to go around, but I sort of was working on the Devastation Meteor Strike, and I just became aware of exactly what this skill does, which is kind of like a damage absorbing move, more or less. It converts damage to energy and whatnot, so it's useful, but it's not very powerful, upgraded. But those moves are pretty much the main part of this skill tree. I've got some minor buffs on here, but again, wasn't really able to level them up much. So if we go over here to the Shaman, this is the main part of the build. I've got my totems, the Wendigo totem, which is like a healing totem, and my Storm totem, which the Storm totem is pretty much the main one I focus on. It's my damage totem, and I can throw out multiple of those, so I end up using that one way more than the other totem. I've also got the Wind Devil, which you guys will see in a minute here. The Wind Devil is actually the prime focus of this build. The Wind Devil is kind of like a pet or a minion. I can summon 4 of them. And it's just kind of like they're an immortal minion, similar to some of the guys. They're similar to the Blade Spirits, which was in a previous video with one of my other guys, but this is technically different. This is a little lightning whirlwind that does lightning damage. It actually calls down lightning bolts and stuff. Very cool, but I'll show you guys more about that in a minute. And then I've got my Briarthorn and my Primal Spirit, which are shaman-specific summon abilities. They're kind of basically the main summons for this build. And then we get into the devotion tree here. The Shaman's actually got a little bit going on compared to a lot of my other characters. I've got the Guardian's Gaze attached to Wind Devil, which is basically just like this kind of eye that swirls around, does extra damage and whatnot. It's actually not the most impressive skill, but it's cool, and it works good with the Wind Devil since there's several of them. I've also got over here Hyrian's Glare, if I'm saying that right. It's basically just kind of like a small, subtle, sort of stunning move that I have attached to one of my buffs, so it's kind of always active. This character is my most squishy and kind of honestly my most incomplete build. There's a lot of awesome stuff going on with this character, but I did struggle a little bit with this one, especially in Ultimate, so you know, be a little lenient on this build. I've also got the Elemental Seeker, 100% chance on attack for the Flash Freeze. I have this attached to the Flash Freeze. Now, the Elemental Seeker was sort of misleading the way I read it. Like, it sounded like a minion, but it's basically just kind of like an elemental orb of energy that appears when I do the Flash Freeze, and it kind of just seeks out enemies and does more damage. It's cool. It's not really a minion, though. And then I want to say I had one more move on this character. Here it is. Arcane Bomb. I have that attached to Devastation, which is the meteor move. It's pretty much just kind of like little pools of damage that trigger on the ground underneath enemies that do arcane damage. You know, it's triggered by the actual the Devastation itself. And I've got this one, I forgot. The Blizzard. which is 100% chance on critical attack, and it's tied to Storm Totem. This one I don't see as much, but I see it enough. It's kind of just like, it's a whole nother little whirlwinds, so it kind of gets lost since my whole build is whirlwinds, and you guys will see what I mean here. I've got Cinder Winds, I've got my my Wind Devils, which is what I was kind of showing you guys, and then I've got this Blizzard type thing, which the Blizzard thing is very short and it stays in place, so you may not notice it when I'm showing off the build, but if you see, like, it's a darker blue than the other whirlwinds, so, and it stays in one place and it doesn't last very long, but it just does ice damage. It's cool. But that's pretty much it. As far as my skills, my devotions, you know, all that extra stuff. Oh no, there's one more. I knew there I came down here, I was like, I knew there might be one more in this corner. I promise this is the last one. Got Elemental Storm here, 25% chance on attack, and this is bound to Wendigo Totem, which is my healing totem. It's the other one. This is kind of it's sort of similar to that last skill that I just described. It's just does different elemental damage. So this character's all about elemental damage, all about whirlwinds, elemental damage. So, but now that we've seen the skills, we're going to look at my gear here. And if you can see, I kind of think this gear looks pretty cool. I sort of think all the sets I've gotten look pretty cool. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and dive right into this. I'm going to start off with the set here, which we'll start with the helmet here, the Cyclone mask. Look at all those stats, and you can already see right there how it's contributing to the Wind Devil, and how that's pretty much going to be the main piece of this build. Before I show you guys the other 4 pieces, we'll go ahead and scroll down just a little bit here. You can mainly see at the very bottom there at the 3 set and the 4 set, where it really pushes my Wind Devil to the next level. That last one giving me an extra Wind Devil and allowing me to summon all 4 of them at one time instead of having to run around and summon each one individually and wait for the cooldown in between each one, while also, you know, barely being able to get out your full 3 at a time before the first one's already about ready to dissipate. So that was a game changer, and increasing the their lifespan by 20 seconds, that's just, it's been a game changer, man. It's this set is amazing. It also includes the offhand piece, which this alone has a granted skill. This gives me Cinderwind. This is one of the skills I've mentioned previously. So in addition to all my Wind Devils, I've got these Cinderwind skills, which are part of this build. Now, my Wind Devils do primarily electricity damage, and the Cinderwinds, of course, deal fire. Now, this item here has a 25% chance on critical chance to summon a Cinderwind, and it can summon up to 3. Keep that in mind, because we're going to touch on that again here in like 10 seconds. But before we do, we've got the mantle here, which is more just kind of generic stats. And then I have the medal down here, the Cyclone mark, with more stats, and that's the full 4-piece set. Now that I have the whole set here, I also have these gloves, Cinder Touch. Now you look at there, we have Cinderwind again, and I also have a chance to summon 3. 10% chance on attack. Now this is just basic attack, not critical attack like the other one. I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sure if this stacks with the regular, because I've only really taken this build for a run once or twice. I literally kind of just finished getting this one put together. I've been grinding for the last couple days to try and get this one topped off and get it to where I could use all this gear. But yeah, I just found these gloves, and they're not even affiliated with the rest of the set. It's just on top of all that, so I'm hoping I can have up to 6 Cinderwinds here. I've also got these lightning boots, the static electricity, 33% chance when hit, so when I'm receiving damage. So you can kind of see more of what I was talking earlier about how, you know, it's pretty much just either fire or lightning with this character for the most part. But those things are kind of the main part of this build. The rest of it's kind of cool. I've got this axe here, which I'm honestly looking to replace. It's kind of the one part of the build that I've had for a minute, and it works, I guess, but I could definitely get something better. It's just sort of there right now because I haven't found anything yet. But I do have some cool rings. Some of these items, they've been barely tested. I've just put this build together, so like the boots, and I think it's one of these rings I've never used, so we'll see these out in action. Hopefully this gives me Ether Blaze, 10% chance on attack. It's a arcane fire that erupts underneath your foes, so more fire damage. That one I actually had on another item, so I already know what that does. Chain lightning, 20% chance on critical attack here, you know, more storm totem buffs, all kinds of skills and stuff. The Blight Shard Amulet, this gives me, if you can see on the side there, in addition to my Briar Thorn here, I'll show you guys, I do have one other minions here, these little cockroach guys. These are actually not part of the regular build. These are guys granted from the Blight Shard Amulet, which I'm not going to lie, when I saw this amulet originally online, I thought it was going to be something totally different. The Blighted Rift Scourge just sounded awesome, and it was one of the few minions I have not messed with yet in this game. And now that I have this item, there's technically only one minion that I have never seen. It's the little T-Rex guy. I don't know if I'll ever find him, but I've experienced everyone else, so that's cool. Go ahead and just kept these anyway. I mean, it was really hard to get this amulet, but I finally got it, so it was a little disappointing, but it's there. It's part of the build. It's cool. We've got this belt here, which, you know, decent. It's got really good armor, and it benefits my shaman, so I could probably find something better than this, but it's a decent fit for now. My relic, I could probably find a better one, but I didn't really have a plan for what to put there yet. This is just a generic relic, honestly. I've had a couple of these. It's just a placeholder, really. And that pretty much just leaves the armor here, the chest armor. It's pretty useful. I don't see myself swapping this out. It gives me another little like buff ability there, the Devouring Darkness. It's an actual ability I cast, so I have 3 technical buff moves now, with this one being added to my original 2. But it's got good stats, great armor, and that's pretty much the build. So you guys kind of saw this build's not as flashy as my other ones. I mean, it's just as flashy, but it's not as complex. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to do some gameplay. I'm going to show you guys sort of just the chaosness of this. I'll cast a few spells so you guys can see those, and then I'm just going to start throwing out Cinder Winds. I mean, the Cinder Winds cast on their own, so I'll pretty much just be throwing out the other spells, and the Cinder Winds will start casting on their own. I'll pretty much have to stay locked in combat for a minute because the Cinder Winds do not last very long. And then after we get through that, I want to do one more thing with you guys in this video. I got a little treat here. There's this set here called the Ghoul's Malice, basically. This is a set that I've been sort of putting together for a minute. I didn't really have any plans on using this, but if you can see at the very bottom there, if you have a full set, well, for one, this gives you an additional Blight Fiend. This is something that actually would have been great if I had used my shaman with the necromancer, which was originally kind of what I planned to do with my main class before I decided to use occultist instead and go occultist necromancer. But shaman probably would have been the next best thing after occultist. I didn't do that, so this set isn't going to fully benefit me, but I did want to try it out still because that last thing at the bottom there, summon Eldritch Talon, it seems to be another minion, and if it's a full set thing, I would assume it's a super minion. I've never used it before, never seen it. So we're going to finish the video off by just exploring that one together. We're going to see what that guy looks like. Not probably going to do much, but just figured I'd let you guys know what the plan was. But real quick here, we're going to spend a couple minutes just slaughtering things. Got my good old Disintegration Beam here. Pretty fun. My Frost Freeze there. You can see how it freezes enemies. The range of that actually just got like way more dramatic since when I started using it. And you can already see some of the Cinder Winds busting out here. I was trying to cast some of the Storm Totems. Yeah, you can see them there. The Storm Totems are stationary summons. They do chain lightning to enemies and whatnot, as you can maybe kind of see there. Yeah, it's a little lightning bolt. I get a bunch of those out. But we're going to go ahead and throw out all the Wind Devils. Boom, there they are, Wind Devils. Go ahead and throw out a Devastation. Kind of see the green meteor strike. That's devastation. Forgive me, this is going to be a little hard to make it like look good on screen because all these skills are just like on top of one another. I understand, so I apologize. But all this fire you guys see, those are Cinder Winds, and it's kind of even hard to really see how many there are. So it's like I don't really know how many are out at any one time. But that's really mostly it. Here's the, my Primal Spirit, which is the other main summon for the Shaman when I'm not using the Briar Thorn. But that's pretty much it. You've got Wind Devils and you've got Cinder Winds. So various different elemental tornadoes on top of me just hurling raw magic at these guys. This guy's an elite here or something. I'll go ahead and kill him and we'll call it. Yeah, the Frost move used to only kind of just like shoot out like an inch or two. Now it takes up the whole screen, so that's fun. These Cinder Winds, actually, I wasn't really originally planning to finish this character. I was only going to do my first two. I had started a third, but I wasn't really sure how to do the build, and I was struggling a little bit early on. But I saw some people online using these Cinder Winds, and I just thought it looked so cool. I had to have it. I've had a lot of help from the online community. This game doesn't have a whole lot of people playing it, so it really helps to just get on here, be tenacious, and try to get in with the right people. But anyway, I've ranted enough for this video. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to finish off now. I'm going to do what I told you guys. Take a step away from the Cinderwind build for a minute and see what exactly this other minion is. Maybe someday I'll have something more to do with this build. But alright, so we swapped some things out. Now I've got the full Ghoul's Malice build. You scroll down here. You can kind of see what I'm trying to do there. Summon the Eldritch Talon. I just want to know what that is. That's all. And I got a new little look, kind of. It's sort of a cool little armor set, really. Now, I'm assuming since that one was an actual specific skill, I'll have to attach it to something. So, let's go ahead and get rid of these bug guys for just a minute here. Eldritch Talon, right there, item. Let's see what this guy is. He might just be another big bug for all I know. Alright. Oh! Okay, everybody. This is the T-Rex minion. This is the one minion that I was telling you guys that I had not come across in this game. And I honestly had no idea how to get this guy. Because I've seen him before, but I couldn't find, like, I did Google searches. I used Grim Tools, which is a really helpful website for this game. And I couldn't find anything that gave me this guy. But now I have him. That's every minion in the game, guys. You guys witnessed it. We completed my minion checklist. I got them all. So I have this guy now. Only thing that's unfortunate about him is I'm not really going to be able to use him much because he's tied to this. I could maybe, if anything, take this set over to my Necromancer, because my Necromancer could have this guy, and then I could actually have 2 Blight Fiends on that guy, if you guys remember the Blight Fiend from my previous video. Only problem is I'd be swapping out a bunch of skeletons for it, so either way, you know, my Necromancer is kind of a little bit of give and take, but I'm happy that we discovered this guy. That's pretty much what I'm going to call this video, though. Got a little sidetracked in the end. But that's my shaman character, my build. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you guys enjoyed this video and what you guys maybe are doing with your builds. As always, I'm happy to know. Make sure you give this video a like, subscribe to the channel. That would really help me out as always. And I will catch you in the next one, guys. Thank you for watching.